What's going on, Laker fans? Um, Appreciate you guys being here for the absolute ass kicking of the Philadelphia 76ers and the Los Angeles Lakers. Damn. I mean, it's all right to lose, like losing happens, but what a complete ass kicking by the Philadelphia 76ers. A final score 138 to 94. Lakers get completely ran out of the building. What building is that? Wells Fargo Center or something along those lines. Just a complete, you know what, of a performance from the Lakers, and it was never a game. I don't know. I'm kind of confused of where to start. Again, I'm going to go back to this. You lose in the NBA, it happens. But you had arguably your best road win of the season against the Cleveland Cavaliers. I thought it was the best road win that they had versus one of the worst losses that the Lakers have had all season long. And you can make the argument there's other losses that are worse. You can make the argument, no. It gets a lot worse than that because they lost some teams that were just lesser opponents. But, I mean, talk about not coming out ready to play, down 13 at the end of the first quarter, down 15 at halftime. And that's after the Lakers went on a run. I think they went on a 14-4 run to close out the first half and pulled within 15, and you actually felt like, hey, this isn't all that awful. Third quarter, they start out the third quarter pretty well, but then end up getting outscored and still give up 30 points. And in the fourth quarter, get outscored 40-14. I know the game was over anyways. I know it really didn't matter at that point, but you want to have some pride in games like this. You want to feel like the Lakers are telling themselves at least we're not going to go out a certain way, that there is from that perspective, there is if we're going to lose, we're going to make sure that it's at least not a demoralizing loss. Or maybe they're looking at it as simple as, hey, if you're going to lose, doesn't matter how much you lose by, an L is an L, and whether they go down by 40 or they go down by the way, they lost by more than 40. They lost by 44. Whether you're going to go down by 40 plus or you're going to go down by 5, it doesn't really matter. But I just nothing really to walk away from this game and say to yourself, oh, I got some positives here that I could take away. Oh, the Lakers will be just fine because they did this or they did that. However you want to slice and dice tonight's post-game show, I honestly have nothing positive to say other than Bron and AD pretty much don't play in the final 9.5. Those are maybe some things that you could look at, but I really didn't have anything to go for. I want to talk about Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, what those two players did to the Lakers, the three-point shooting from the Philadelphia 76ers. When did Pat Bev turn into Reggie Miller or Ray Allen or whatever you want to call it? LeBron has now played the most minutes all time. That was something that was passed. It's including postseason and regular season. I don't know if any Laker fans really want to even talk about that or acknowledge it, but that is something that happened today. And then the only real good news that I have is the Lakers got another game coming up against the Pistons and could be 2-1 on this road trip before they face the Thunder. And with the way the Pistons are playing, that should very well happen. That's really the only good news that I got. Embiid, as far as the discussion of who was the best player on the floor, let's the top two players on the floor tonight, both of them were representing the city of brotherly love, the Philadelphia 76ers, because it certainly wasn't the Lakers. 138 to 94, the final score. Okay, I know I got a lot of comments to get into. I know I got a bunch of different topics that I personally want to get into. So I'm going to do all that as we kind of get the show flowing here. I'm going to go back to, and this is going to kind of be my assumption of the game. What you're really looking for, at least from my perspective, is can you have a game going into the fourth quarter and you have an opportunity to win that game or steal that game? No team in the NBA should be losing by 44 points. No team in the NBA should be embarrassed the way the Lakers were. 40-14 in the fourth quarter is a demoralizing, awful loss. Now, the only good news is it counts as one loss. It's no more than one loss. And, that's obviously something that the Lakers, I guess, can hold somewhat positivity to. But look at some of these stats here. The three-point shooting for the Philadelphia 76ers. They hit 22 threes. And percentage-wise, I want to just do some math here. They were plus 45 from three than the Lakers. Lakers shot 25% from the three-point line, were 7 of 28 from three, while the Sixers were 22 of 46, 47%, plus 45 from the three-point line were the Philadelphia 76ers. Sometimes you just got to tip your cap. Teams are hitting shots. I want to look at who all hit threes for the Sixers. Batum had 2. Embiid hit 2. Tyrese Maxey, who, by the way, kind of a baller. That dude's got an engine. And when they traded James Harden away, I'm sure it was really easy for them to. And part of the reason was because Tyrese Maxey is such a good player. But he hit 5 threes. DeAndre Melton hit 3 threes. Marcus Morris Sr. hit 4 threes against the Lakers. Patrick Beverley, who I think the percentage they were talking about during the game on Spectrum, I don't know, 13, 15%, whatever he was for the season, hit 50% from 3 and hit 4 of them. Bamba hit a 3. Paul Reed hit a 3. It seemed like everybody got in the act. Tobias Harris didn't hit one. Covington didn't hit one. Only a few guys that actually took 3. Korkmaz missed 1 3. Of all the guys that took them, only a few guys didn't hit any threes, but everybody else was absolutely cooking for the Philadelphia 76ers. So that disadvantage from 3 was so incredibly lopsided. Like I said, plus 45 from 3. I don't remember doing a post-game show, and I've been doing the post-game show on here for a long time, doing it on the radio for a long time, and continuing to do it here on YouTube. I don't remember a plus 45. I genuinely don't remember. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there was plus 45. They had 33 assists in this game as well. They had 11 steals to the Lakers, 3 steals. They led by 46 at one point. Lakers had a quick lead early on, 13-8, 11-6, whatever it was. Can't remember. And that was it. 5-point lead, and then all Philly from there. It's funny. I was taking some notes while the game was going on, and early in the first quarter, one of the notes that I took, I said, Embiid 2 fouls in first quarter, Lakers take 0 advantage. Sixers went on a 20-2 run. I think once the Lakers went up by 5 or something like that, they went on a crazy run, 20-2. And Embiid got 2 personal fouls, 8 minutes left to go in the first quarter. Now, it didn't end up really having much of an effect on the game, but talk about not taking advantage of that. Talk about having 0 momentum as the game progressed. Talk about not really giving yourself a shot in this game. It's difficult to say, oh, well, this happened and that's why the Lakers lost, because they lost by 44. So there is no justification. There is no if this one play happened or that one play happened. Lakers just got their ass kicked, just completely got their ass kicked. So that part is obviously incredibly frustrating. I'm going to talk Embiid and AD in just a second here, but Embiid had 30, 11, and 11. Tyrese Maxey had 31 and 8. Maxey's real deal too. That's a nice player. They had 5 guys in double figures, but they had a number of guys, 2 guys with 9 points. And Tobias Harris had 8 points. They had another guy, Bamba had 7. They could have easily had 7 or 8 guys in double figures. It's funny, when I was doing the pregame show on radio, I was talking about watch out for the other guys. But when you get 60 from your stars and still get plenty of help from everybody else, then I don't really know what to tell you, because Lakers aren't obviously going to win a game if that's the circumstance. For the Lakers on offense, nobody went off. Nobody scored 20 points in this game, so there wasn't those crazy contributions, and LeBron and Anthony Davis were both LeBron played 30, AD played 32 minutes, and that's with the Lakers pretty much not playing the guys in the fourth. I don't know if AD played in the fourth. I know Bron sat with 9 minutes left or whatever the case was and ended up sitting the rest of the way. So ultimately for the Lake Show, they had no shot in this game. Did not come out thinking that they could steal a game from the Philadelphia 76ers, and give the Sixers credit. They were incredible tonight. And like I said, plus 45 from the three-point line. Let's read off some of these comments here. And then I got a couple other points that I want to make as well as far as that matchup, the LeBron-Anthony Davis matchup. Okay, let's see some of your comments here. I knew it. AD, MIA versus Embiid. They actually have played, hypothetically, even though the Lakers have, or I'm sorry, even though Embiid and Anthony Davis toe to toe, their stats against each other are not terrible. It's really, really not terrible. Those two going up against each other is not that bad. They've been pretty good comps. The problem is Embiid is now 7-1 against Anthony Davis in head-to-head matchups. Let me see what I got here. I got horrible. I got Lakers may make the play-in tournament 2 years in a row. I got some people that are disappointed in the coach. That was a fantastic. That was a classic no effort loss. A lot of people passionate on this chat today. All right, let me read a couple more of these here, and then I'm going to end up getting to some of the stuff that I want to get to. It's the worst Lakers loss. Is it the worst Lakers loss ever? It's not. I think they lost to the Clippers by like 50 a couple years back when it was CP3 and Blake Griffin. If somebody wants to double check, they can check. This is not a contending team whatsoever. I got no words. Wow. I got other people keep saying wow. How many times the Lakers going to give up 60 or 70 points in the first half of the season? By the way, Laker fans, I will tell you this. Everything you're saying is 1,000% justified. The frustration, the what the hell are these guys doing? You talk about effort, coach. You talk about whatever you want, whatever it is that you have in mind, any of it. 138-94 is a complete ass kicking, and there is no justification for it. Like I said, if Lakers lose the game and it's by 10 points, it's about 12 points, 15 points, just, things don't go well. 44 is another level. That is 1,000% another level. All right, let's see what else we got here. Let me see what we got here. I don't like to say it, but whenever the Lakers win, I try not to get too excited because there's a good chance the next game will stink. For example, like this game tonight. Well, I will tell you this. The Lakers have they won 7 of 9 games. Now, listen, we could nitpick and we could say, well, the 7 of 9 games, there was this team, there was that team, there was home cooking. You could do that. And by the way, I'm not completely opposed to that or against it. But what I will say on that front is 7 of 9 is still 7 of 9. So I still give the Lakers credit. I can't, if I'm going to take away credit or I'm going to criticize them, I also got to give them credit when I feel like they deserve it. So I'm not going to be too critical and say the world's about to end. They won 7 of 9. Tonight, they got their asses handed to them by a good team in the Eastern Conference. And when you got your players, your chance to go toe-to-toe with some really, really good players in the league, the Lakers did not know what to do with that. Ass kicking tonight. All right. I'm gonna take a second away from some of these comments because I do want to get with I do want to talk about the matchup, right? The matchup tonight was was Joel Embiid versus Anthony Davis. Let me be very, very clear. This is not even an AD versus Embiid conversation. This is Embiid was so by far the best player on the floor, and the only player remotely close to him was Tyrese Maxey. Dude's on another level. And there's levels in the league. Let me, as best as I can describe it. In the NBA, what you look at is there's about 5 players every single year that you're like, okay, that dude's got a legitimate chance to be the most valuable player in the NBA. And this year, I don't think that the names are really going to change drastically. It's going to be Embiid. It's going to be Giannis. It's going to be Nikola Jokic. It's probably going to be Luka, depending on where they finish. And you might have somebody else come into the mix. Tatum probably a part of the conversation just because Boston's going to be so good. And you're going to get a newcomer. And that newcomer is probably going to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander if OKC keeps winning. Well, what does it mean when you say those are the top, those 5-6 players got a chance to be MVP? It means every single night you know exactly what that player is going to do. And, he might be a little bit below his average, but he also might crush his average. Joel Embiid tonight, a center. I was talking about this over the last couple of days. I think I mentioned it. I said, Embiid, I'm looking at his stats, getting ready for tonight's game. Like, this dude averages 6 assists a game. That's really impressive. And I mentioned it in the pregame show that I have no concern. I already know what Embiid's going to do tonight because that's what Joel Embiid does. This is when you're one of the best players in the league, you could already chalk it up. What makes them so great is they're great consistently every night. It's so rare when they have a really bad night, but they're great every single night. Think of all the greats that played in the game. Embiid dropped 30, had 11 rebounds, and had 11 assists. He had 30 points, 11 rebounds, and 11 assists. That's just incredible. Gets to the free throw line. I know some people don't like the way he draws some of his fouls, and I'm with you. There's times where he's looking for contact. Rather, maybe that's what playing with James Harden does. But there's times he's looking to draw contact rather than just make a basketball play. The problem is in the NBA, referees and the league rewards players for doing that. So Embiid is just trying to be smart. And as long as they blow the whistle, he's going to keep doing it. Now, until they stop blowing the whistle, he's going to do it. But 11 dimes, that means he's dishing the ball and other people are scoring as well. He scores at will and his shooting percentage is always very, very good. I mean, if you take 15 shots in this league and you end up with 30 points, that's beyond efficient. Gets to the free throw line, doesn't take high volume shots, drops 11 assists and 11 rebounds on top of his 30 points. He was by far the best player that was on the court tonight. So I think the reason why I like having this separate conversation about Embiid is because that shows you when you talk about the categories of the best in the NBA, and then you say, hey, there's another tier after that. That's where AD is, period. That's where Anthony Davis is. He's in that other tier. Now, AD tonight, I'll tell you exactly what we did. 32 minutes, shot 14 field goal attempts, had 5 free throw attempts, hit 3, 17 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. That was not an AD night. AD night in Cleveland, where here's the last 3 games for Anthony Davis. They played Dallas. He had 10 points on 10 shot attempts. They played Cleveland. He had 32 points, 13 rebounds, I think 5 or 6 assists, 3 block shots. He was a man amongst boys against the Cavs, who, by the way, have Evan Mobley, have Jared Allen. They have a good front court. And then he goes up against Embiid and the Sixers, 17 and 11. How are you going to win that game? And let me emphasize by saying this. Lakers lost by 44. So even if AD goes off for 50 tonight, they're still losing the game. Even if AD was incredible tonight, they're still getting their asses kicked. So even if he dropped 35 and 15 and did all this other stuff, but going into this game, there was you got this player in Joel Embiid, you got this player in Anthony Davis. Let's see what the Lakers can do with the Sixers. Let's see how that Embiid-AD matchup goes. Lakers got demolished, and the Embiid and Anthony Davis matchup was not a matchup to talk about because one player did anything he wanted to do, was by far the best player on the court, and the other guy wasn't. So that's my best description of those 2 players going back and forth against each other. And that's, again, the best way for me to describe a player that is competing for an MVP, already has an MVP, is arguably the best player in the world, and another player that's in that second tier. AD's in that second tier. period. And no one can, I think, make a different argument. I don't think we could sit here and have a different conversation. There's tiers in the league, just like there's tiers in the NBA. I don't think Philly's in that tier where Milwaukee and Boston is. I think they're in that second tier. I don't think AD is in that tier with some of those other players. He's in that second tier. Okay. Let me read some of these comments here. Guys, by the way, I appreciate all of you hanging out with me, even after a bad loss, even after the Lakers get their ass kicked. A lot of this, I don't know how many different times I said Lakers got their ass kicked, but I feel like I keep saying that because they got their ass kicked. So thank you for hanging out. And please subscribe to the channel if you don't mind. The refs were the best player on the floor. Okay, refs, not all that great. Lakers still lost by 44. And there was a lot of free throw shooting, the whole thing. And by the way, no flow to the game, none of that stuff. AD is soft. Okay, got one of those. Got another one. AD is soft. Okay, I got AD isn't winning anything this year. No championship, and definitely no defensive player of the year. Maybe most disappointing player of the year. Again, listen, this changes game to game because I was doing the post-game show against the Cavs, and we were all going out of our way to praise him. And this just kind of comes with the territory. The expectations are so high, and when you're going up against a player of Joel Embiid, you need to see your best from your best. Lakers, obviously, that was not the case tonight, and they just barely lost by 44. You know what sucks? Let me tell you guys something, Lakers fans. Tell you what sucks. I was actually looking forward to tonight's game. Right after I finished the pregame show, I'm on the road and got here right as the game started. I think I turned on the TV. It was 4-1. These are the types of games I look forward to. I want to see the Lakers against good competition. I want to see them in tough games on the road because I think that's the best way to gauge what your team is. And by the time the first quarter was done, it was very similar to what we've seen in the past. Okay, down big again in the first quarter, down double digits at the end of the first 12 minutes, down double digits at halftime. And by the time, you got to the fourth quarter, I don't know what the hell was going on. 40-14 in the fourth quarter when you're already getting your ass kicked. That's it's a little bit of a shocker there. Okay, let's see what else we got here from some of our people. AD playing better doesn't help us. No question about it. 1,000%. And I said this a little bit earlier. I'm going to say it again. The Lakers did not lose this game because AD didn't go toe-to-toe with Embiid. Lakers lost this game is because they didn't play a lick of defense. They were down double digits at the end of the first quarter. Tyrese Maxey and Embiid combined for 61. They hit 22 threes on the other side. There were plenty of reasons why the Lakers lost this game. So I really, 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 really don't want to make it sound like I'm telling you that the Lakers lost this game because AD had below average numbers. They lost the game. The only reason why I was mentioning the AD and Embiid and highlighting Anthony Davis is because coming into this game, we're talking about AD versus Embiid. And I want to continue to reiterate the point. Embiid is on a different level, period. He's on a completely different level. All right, I hope that's a better clarification there. Wrong, Allen. Don't let AD off the hook because they get blown out. That's some BS. Call him out. Overhyped player in the league he is. Plays a lot of good games, guys. That's the one thing I will tell you. It's not like the guy doesn't show up at all. It's just anytime Embiid is going to go up, or anytime it's Lakers versus Sixers, you're going to talk AD Embiid. If it's Lakers and the Nuggets, you're going to talk about AD and Joker. Lakers and the Bucks, you're going to obviously talk about. There's certain matchups you're going to spend certain time talking about matchups. Giannis versus Anthony Davis. So that's all tonight was. I'll just drink a little more on. David, look, you're always thinking, my brother. You always are a step ahead of the crew here. True Embiid will probably be NBA MVP. It's interesting. I had Keith Pompey is the guy's name. He covers the Sixers for the Philly Inquirer. I had him on the pregame show. Excuse me. Had him on the pregame show, and we were talking a little bit. Michael Thompson kept saying, he kept talking about, hey, if this team doesn't get far, what's going to happen to Joel Embiid? And I'm like, all right, we'll save that question. When we get Keith Pompey on, let's ask him the question. And I guess if the Sixers are out in the first or second round, that might be a dude that says, hey, I'm done with the Sixers. I gave you guys your shot. I need to go somewhere else because I just can't compete for a chip out here. It's going to be interesting what happens with them this year, what kind of moves that they go out and make, what they do. It's going to be very interesting seeing what they end up doing or what he wants to do. He's such a good player. He's incredible. How do you have a big like that? Michael Thompson was saying this in the pregame. Actually, he was saying it right before the game started with John, that he's the most skilled big man he's ever seen. What he's talking about is gets to the free throw line, shoots 85% from the free throw line, can hit threes, has moves down low like Akeem Olajuwon, can power you like Shaquille O'Neal. He's not saying he's the best big man. He's just saying he's one of the most skilled big men he's ever. What if this guy becomes available? I think that's obviously something that would be fascinating to see what eventually happens. Okay, so still a couple things I want to do here. Feel free to send in your comments. I'm going to try to get into these comments as well. I talk about it, and I want to spend time and continue talking about it. Underdog Fantasy is a proud partner of the channel. Hey, what do you know? I pointed in the right direction for the first time, sort of. They're a proud partner of the channel, and it's the first partner that I've had on this YouTube channel where this is it. They're, a partner and they're involved with what I'm doing. So I'm very, very appreciative of Underdog Fantasy. They do a promotion for this channel, and I'm going to put the code in here real quick. It's Hoops LA is the code. They do a promotion. I'm circling it as we speak. If you sign up for Underdog Fantasy and you use the code Hoops LA, they'll match your first deposit up to $100. So you get your email address, you download the app, Underdog Fantasy, you put in your information, and you use the code HoopsLA, and you put $50 in. So you're going to use $50 to play on this website on the app. They'll match that $50. So you have $100 in your account. So basically, you can say $50 credit that you can play with. You put up to $100, they'll match. You put $100, you'll have $200 in there. You put $10, you'll have $20 in there. Here's how I play. And I'm obviously doing a lot of NBA games because I love the NBA. I do pregame as in games that have not started yet. I go to NBA because I love the NBA. You guys know that. And Denver and the Clippers are coming up here, and they come up at 7:30. Let's go Nuggets Nation. Let me make this a little bit bigger here so we could see it. All you got to do is make 2 picks. You could do up to 6 picks. And we got Michael Porter. I know Nikola Jokic is not playing tonight. Let's go KCP, a little bit different. KCP higher than lower than 14.5 points. I'm going to go higher because Jokic is not playing. Okay? That's my strategy there, is because Jokic is not playing. Let's do Kawhi, higher or lower than 22.5 points. I'll go higher because it's Kawhi, and the Clippers are or the Nuggets are without Jamal Murray, and they're also without Jokic. So I think the Clippers are probably going to blow them out. I bet $10 I could win up to 30 by betting. So I got KCP higher and I got Kawhi higher. I'll hit submit, confirm, and that's it. I do this before Laker games. It is kind of interesting if you're somebody that plays daily fantasy sports, or maybe you haven't played and you want to try it out. Take advantage of the incentive. The incentive is a first deposit match of up to $100. Again, make sure you use that code HoopsLA. I get credit. The channel gets credit. And you get this $100 deposit match. So thank you for doing that. And thank you for sitting through the partnership conversation there. Okay, let's keep going here. I'm going to read some of your comments, and then I want to talk about the next game for the Lakers. Absolutely no roll call tonight. Are you kidding me? Yeah, that's definitely not happened. 5-finger bourbon on me, Sliwa, top shelf, 3 rounds. Bourbon sounds pretty good right now. Get some bourbon over Thanksgiving. You at the studio or at your house, Levo? So this is home, little home studio that I kind of built out. I'm still in the process of building it. I want to get an old school Kobe photo. I want to put that somewhere. Um, some lighting that I'd like to work on. There's still a lot of stuff that I'd like to do, but we'll do it. I'm working on it. Maury and Embiid are both almost 54, or Maxi. More, I said Maury as it. Maxi and Embiid are both almost 50, 40, 90. Those dudes are efficient shooters and scorers. Let me tell you as somebody that has not watched much Tyrese Maxey. I'm just not watching the Sixers play. I'm watching the Lakers play. If there's other games on, all right, I'll try to catch them when I can. Tyrese Maxey is real deal. That dude he's got energy. He's got a motor. Is not afraid to take shots. Is relentless at getting to the basket. That dude's real deal. Give that man his credit. He's definitely making it happen. All right, I want to talk about final thing I'm going to do here. Here's the good news, Laker fans. As much as I just demolished the Lakers and talked about how crappy of a performance it was, the good news about the Lakers is this. I got two things that are good news. One of the pieces of good news is you didn't have to play AD and Braun 40 minutes tonight. All right, so I guess if you want to look at that as some good news right there, that's one piece of good news. Okay, no, I got another piece of good news. Whether you lose by 44 like the Lakers did tonight or you lose by 1, it still only counts as 1 loss. So maybe this is a motivating thing for the Lakers where they can come back and have some extra motivation to come and try and win. The other piece of good news here for the Lakers is they're playing the Pistons coming up on Wednesday. And all they have to do is literally just beat the Detroit Pistons on Wednesday. And at the absolute worst, you're 2-2 on this road trip. I think that OKC game is going to be very, very tough. Especially it's going to be second of a back-to-back. And the Thunder they're a really, really good team. I want to see where they are. I know they were first or second in the Western Conference. So they're second in the West, 11-5 overall. They've won 8 of their last 10 games. They actually lost to the Sixers in the game on Saturday. So they're going to be well rested, chilling, hanging out, I think. Well, no, they're going to have games between then. They got a game against Minnesota, I think, coming up tomorrow. But the Oklahoma City Thunder are a real deal. But the good news for the Lakers is you're playing a Pistons team. Let me tell you what the Pistons have done so far this year. So talk about good timing of facing the Pistons. Pistons lost their opener against Miami. Then they won 2 games in a row. They beat Charlotte and Chicago. Since then, are you ready for this? They've lost OKC, Portland, New Orleans, Phoenix, Golden State, Milwaukee, Philly, Chicago, Atlanta, Cleveland, Toronto, Denver, Indiana, and Washington. The Detroit Pistons have lost 14 games in a row. That's how bad the Pistons are. That's how awful they've been. And that's how important beating the Cavs was, is it gave you an opportunity to split this 4-game road trip. And still 2 games left to go. But that, to me, is the good news, Laker fans. The good news is, yes, you got your ass kicked. Yes, you got it handed to you tonight. But it only counts as 1 loss. You got the Pistons coming up. And if you'd have told me, hey, you got a 4-game road trip, 3 of those games are against teams that are definitely playoff teams, would you take 2-2? I would take 2-2. Maybe it's not the most ideal situation. I'm not telling you that it's perfect. But what I'm telling you is they got a chance to go 2-1 on this road trip with 1 more game left against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So Pistons have lost 14 games in a row. Shows just how much more important and critical it is to make sure that you get that win, because you can't lose that game. I think we all know that. That's not obviously something that the Lakers can do. And that's my best way of kind of describing this road trip. If I'm looking for something that is a positive, that's my positive. My positive is the Lakers got a chance to go handle some business against the Detroit Pistons, who are god awful, and we can see what happens there. Can we win the first quarter versus Detroit? No guarantees, brother. No guarantees at all. I got somebody already predicting that the Lakers are going to beat the Thunder. Go take care of the Pistons, and that's going to be a second of a back-to-back against a young team. So it's going to be a tough putt there. Laker fans, that's all I got tonight. I appreciate you guys spending some time here on the show. If you can subscribe to the channel, it's always appreciated. Other than that, I appreciate you guys hanging out. Even after a loss, a really, really bad loss, you hung out with me for 35 minutes. Whether you're hanging out live or you're listening a little bit later, always appreciate it. Thank you, Lake fans. Have a great rest of your night. I got Lakers talk tomorrow on radio. And then Wednesday, I'll come back after the Lakers take on the Pistons. Similar time coming up on Wednesday. Appreciate it. Hope you guys all have a great night, and we'll get with you guys soon. Thank you, Lake fans.